In a world where we've all become familiar with scary sounding terms like cytokine storm, it's never been more important to understand how we can actually manage our immune response. So today, we're going to dive into a really fascinating class of drugs that do exactly that: immunomodulators. Think of them as a volume knob for your body's entire defense system. Let's get into how they work. Okay, so let me just start with a question. When you get sick, what do you think the real enemy is? I mean, the obvious answer is the germ, right? The virus, the bacteria. But what if I told you that's only half the story? You see, there's been this huge shift in modern medicine. The old way of thinking was all about, okay, which germ is causing this? But now, the much more important question is often, how is our own body responding to it? Because sometimes it's our immune system's over-the-top reaction that's actually more dangerous than the infection itself. And that idea brings us to a really powerful way of looking at this whole thing. Forget about your immune system being a simple on-off switch. Instead, let's imagine it's something way more sophisticated, something like an immune volume knob. First things first, let's clear something up right away. Immunomodulators are not antibiotics. It's a super common point of confusion. Antibiotics go after the microbe, the bug, itself. Immunomodulators, on the other hand, they act on you, the host. Their job is to treat your body's response to that bug. And that is a crucial, crucial distinction. So, to really wrap our heads around this, let's build out that analogy. Picture your immune system. What it absolutely is not is an on-off switch, right? It's not this simple binary thing that's either working or it's broken. That's just way too simple for how complex our bodies really are. Instead, it's so much more like a volume knob. If you turn that volume down too low, well, infections can easily take over. But if you crank it all the way up to 11, you get this massive, uncontrolled inflammation and tissue damage. And yep, that's your cytokine storm. The whole goal is to find that perfect sweet spot, that perfect volume for a healthy recovery. And that brings us to the official definition. An immunomodulator is any agent that modifies the immune response. And that word right there, modifies, that's the key to everything. It's not just about cranking the volume up or down, it's about fine-tuning the whole system, gently guiding it back toward balance. So how do these things actually work in practice? Well, clinicians have a pretty simple way to think about them, a handy little mnemonic, SIM. It stands for suppress, improve, and modify. Just think of it as the complete toolkit for controlling that immune volume knob. All right, let's start with S for suppressants. These are the drugs you reach for when that volume knob is cranked way too high and the immune system is basically causing friendly fire. Their job is pretty straightforward. Turn that volume down. A great way to think about this is like a firefighter putting out a raging forest fire. That's what drugs like corticosteroids do. In the worst cases of COVID-19, for instance, many people weren't dying from the virus directly. They were dying because their own immune system was causing this massive, out-of-control inflammation. So using a suppressant to dial back that inflammation was literally like putting out the fire. It helped improve oxygen levels, and it absolutely saved lives. And this quote just says it all, doesn't it? There are these critical moments where your body's own defenses become the real killer. And that is exactly when turning down the immune response becomes a life-saving move. Okay, next up in our SIM toolkit is I for immunostimulant. And as you can probably guess, these do the exact opposite. You use these when the immune volume is too low, when the system is just kind of sluggish. I like to think of them as a way to gently wake up a sleeping guard, not to make the guard go crazy, just to make sure they're awake, alert, and ready to do their job. So when would you use something like this? Well, imagine an immune system that's a little on the weak side, or maybe it's just immature, like what you sometimes see in kids who get one infection after another. An immunostimulant acts like a personal trainer for that immune system. It doesn't fight the battle for it, but it helps train it, strengthen it, and make its defenses way more effective for the next time around. And finally, we get to M for modify. Now these are the true immunomodulators. And honestly, they're the most subtle and frankly the most fascinating of the bunch. They don't just crudely turn the volume up or down. No, they're much more elegant. They actually fine-tune the system and help restore a healthy balance to specific immune pathways. And this is where it gets really, really cool. Some drugs can do more than one thing at once. So take a super common antibiotic like azithromycin. Get this, while one part of the drug is busy fighting off bacteria, another part is actually working as a modulator, actively calming down inflammation in your airways. It's this amazing dual action that explains why it's not just used for quick infections, but also to help manage chronic lung diseases. And that leads us to this incredible takeaway. It completely changes how we should think about some of these medicines. They're not just one-trick ponies. Some have these amazing dual roles, acting on both the germ and on our own immune response. Okay, so we've got this powerful SIM toolkit, but, just having the tools is not enough. Using them correctly is a really delicate art, and the most critical part of that art? Timing. Because if you get the timing wrong, you can do way more harm than good. It's kind of like calling in a giant fire truck to put out a tiny little campfire. If you use a powerful immunosuppressant too early during an infection, it's total overkill. You might actually snuff out the helpful, necessary immune response that your body needs to fight off the bug in the first place. You have to wait. You have to wait until that small fire becomes a dangerous blaze, the point where the inflammation itself has become the bigger threat. And this right here, this is the golden rule. You could have the absolute perfect drug, but if you use it at the wrong time, it's not going to work. It could even be harmful. The decision of when to step in with an immunomodulator is often way more important than which one you choose. So let's tie all of this together. What's the ultimate takeaway here? What does all this mean for how we should think about our own internal army, our own defense system? Well, what's the ultimate immunomodulator? Just think about vaccines for a second. They are, without a doubt, the most elegant example we have. A vaccine isn't a weapon that you deploy during a battle. No, it's the military training drill before the battle. It's all about educating and preparing your immune army for a future fight, making your system not just stronger, but a whole lot smarter. So as we wrap up, let's just quickly hit the highlights. First, immunomodulators are all about modifying our own response. Second, remember they treat us, the host, not the pathogen. Third, they can turn the volume up, turn it down, or just gently rebalance the whole system. And finally, and maybe most importantly, timing is everything. It's all about using the right tool for the right reason at exactly the right moment. And I just want to leave you with this one final thought, because it really captures everything we've talked about perfectly. Immunomodulators don't fight the enemy directly. Their job is to control our own internal army, to make sure it fights smart and effectively, without causing a ton of collateral damage. They're the generals that bring strategy and order to the absolute chaos of